This is Dominic Mysterio, and you're watching Combat Compas. Booyaka.
Welcome to episode 2 of Combat Compas, where we really get into the UFC, WWE, and some other combats, boxing, some other combat sports. I'm Fernando Ramirez. With me, as always, my co-host, my tag team partner, Gilbert Manzano, OC, Register Daily News. What's up, bro?
What's up, Fernando? Episode 2 of Combat Compas, and you said it. We talk all about the combat sports, pro wrestling, boxing, MMA, obviously UFC, all that stuff, Top Rank, PBC. We're going to tell the promotions, but today we're going to focus more on your backyard, pro wrestling. WWE, Triple H has taken over, and they took over WWE and Triple H and Stephanie McMahon took over SoFi Stadium. And that's where I met you again. We were reunited in person, Fernando. You were back in California, and you made it just in time for this big event.
Exactly. I wasn't even home a week, and we already had something cool to do. I thought it was awesome. So obviously a couple of years ago, and you can see it right here, WWE was promoting, and that's a picture where I'm interviewing Becky Lynch. They were promoting WrestleMania Going Hollywood. That was supposed to be WrestleMania 37. 37 was supposed to be at SoFi State. So 37 was supposed to be at SoFi Stadium. The pandemic hit, everything shut down. It ended up being actually 38 was supposed to be, 38 was supposed to be in LA. They ended up moving it a year because obviously the pandemic, and they wanted to make sure that they couldn't get interrupted by having no fans. They wanted to make it the biggest WrestleMania possible. Gilbert, my sources around the wrestling era tell me Triple H wants to make this the biggest WrestleMania of all time. He has dream matches in his mind. He has some matches that he wants to put. The biggest match I keep on hearing is your tribal chief against the most electrifying man in all of sports entertainment, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, in front of the millions and millions of Rock supporters. So SoFi Stadium will probably fit about 80 to 90,000. I think that place is going to be rocking. That Triple H wants to blow the roof off of SoFi, well, the semi-roof, off of SoFi Stadium. And that's why they were reminding people, hey, we're coming to SoFi Stadium next year, WrestleMania. We're bringing the superstars. So it was a pretty cool event where WWE let us come. Folks who were in the stadium were allowed to buy their tickets already. I think, Gilbert, according to Arash Markazi, a good friend of the show, 90,000 tickets were sold in that first night. So, man, people are excited about WrestleMania.
I got that email, and it said, record pace for a sellout at WrestleMania. I was like, whoa, okay. Promoting that show, 6 months in advance at SoFi Stadium paid off, and people like us were out there promoting. All the stars were out there for WrestleMania Goes Hollywood, Fernando. And, I'll just say this before we have our guest, James Williams, on, my coworker at SCNG, a big wrestling fan. I'm just a little disappointed, Fernando. I didn't get a chance to talk to Bianca Belair. She's right here behind me. But overall, I had a lot of fun, Fernando.
It was funny. Gilbert's like, I just want to talk to Bianca. And I'm like, okay. They brought out Bianca's husband, Montez Ford. Unfortunately, they didn't bring out Bianca. But a guy that we did see out there was James Williams. Like you said, your coworker, he was out there. We welcome James now on with the Compas. James, thank you so much for jumping on with us. And how exciting was it for you to have not only SoFi Stadium, but WWE invade SoFi Stadium?
Boys, thanks for having me. You guys can hear me okay, right?
We got you, James.
Cool. It was great. Like I always tell people, I work in sports. I work with Gilbert, but I didn't grow up watching sports. I grew up watching pro wrestling, and to be able to interact with them and it just, you have the camera on them. They kind of get into their characters, into their gimmicks a little bit, right? But when the cameras are off, they're all like pretty chill and normal people, right? As you would expect, or at least hope. But it was neat. It was just an interesting experience. And for me, that was unlike Gilbert, who can call SoFi his second home. That was my first time out there. So it was an overall great experience for me. And Gilbert and Fernando, you guys know, when you cover media events, you get media availability for some of these different things. Maybe you get one or two players I mean, they gave you more than you can handle, right? Like there was people I was like saying no to, so it was a good time. But much like you, Gilbert, I had a couple tears that I didn't get to talk to Bianca. I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, we're not alone there, James. But like you mentioned, there was a bunch of stars out there: Austin Theory, Seth Rollins. The list goes on and on. So we got plenty to choose from. But James, let me ask you. I guess for you, before we get into it, me and Fernando, what was your favorite interview? How did it work out for you? Because me and Fernando were doing our thing. You had your side over there, I think on the right of us. You were hogging the Street Profits, James. We're still mad at you about that. Just kidding. So who was one of your favorite interviews from SoFi Stadium for WWE?
You know what? There was a lot of good ones. Raquel was a good one for me. But I think the one that really stood out was probably Dominic Mysterio, and I know you guys got him as well. And you guys had a good food conversation, it sounds like, with him. But for me, I talked about him being in San Diego, right? And for that first time on the July 4th episode of Raw, and what that meant, because I know that was an emotional time for him. And he got goosebumps, and he was very open and candid about it. And I kind of wish Ray was there too, because I would have loved to hear just the dynamic those two have, obviously. But, obviously Eddie Guerrero was a big part of what Dominic does just on screen, right? And with that being one of Ray's closest friends in the wrestling business, they're almost like brothers, Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. But, he said, if you look back to that ladder match, that custody battle, angle they had, what was that, in 99, I guess? Or no, I guess that would have been early 2000, when Dominic was a little kid.
Yeah, 2005.
Was it 2005? Yeah, and you have little Dominic with the blonde highlight over the top of his head, and he said it was
trying
kind
to
of
climb
that
the ladder.
moment that really ingrained that he wanted to get into trying to climb the ladder, right? But I think he said it was that moment, and working with Eddie that closely, I think, really kind of put it into his brain that maybe he wanted to be in the business too, like his father and like Eddie.
It's funny, James, and you know why Ray wasn't there? Right now, Dominic and Ray are fighting. They don't know if they want to be together or if the Judgment Day are getting in Dominic's head. Right. So, I mean, that's why we didn't see Ray there. But James, was there somebody that I tell Gilbert, because, I mean, we talk to NFL athletes, and sometimes they don't want to talk to you, but are you surprised sometimes by the persona, by the way these guys kind of talk, and they get so animated, they get so into the interview that you forget what time is, and you're really in like a bubble, and you don't really realize how long you've already had the athlete.
You know what? You're absolutely right about that. And one of the biggest things for me was Austin Theory. Literally, like he made me pop. Like I always try to be professional and straight face and not really try to make any noise during the interview, right? You want a clear answer out of them. But I guess I'm working on this Dominic Mysterio angle, and I asked Austin Theory, I said, hey, you're one of the young guys in the business, and you're doing big things, and so is Dominic. He's kind of that young up and comer as well. And I said, just tell me a little bit about him and his work ethic. And Austin Theory just looked me dead in the eye and says, Dominic, he's a piece of trash. And like, what do you want me to say about him? And he turned the gimmick on and off like really quick, and I just like started laughing, like, because we were just talking and everything was chill, and he just breaks into his gimmick real quick, and then breaks right out of it, and just has nothing but good things to say about Dominic. But yeah, it was just kind of nice, and it was just kind of interesting, right? It's just because you don't know who you're gonna get in, and some people take their gimmick a little bit more seriously than others, but yeah, it was just a good time overall, and I really kind of got lost in the whole thing of just being there, and you're so used to seeing a lot of these guys and girls on TV, and there you are talking to them, and in some cases, in a way, I almost felt like I knew all of them just because you watch them on TV every week. It's like you know them without really knowing them.
James, that kind of reminds me of a similar story that we had with Austin Theory. Fernando was having his own angle about the Pat McAfee matchup,
right?
And he was trying to say, what do you mean? What happened at WrestleMania? Oh, I got stunned. Yeah, it happens. It's Stone Cold. And Fernando kept pushing. No, I'm talking about, some guy with a podcast, Pat McAfee, and he shut it down quick. Don't talk about that guy. He's trash. So I thought it was a funny moment. But the best part was like when they do go on character, and Fernando was kind of playing up the whole the briefcase thing where you just kind of get the championship whenever you want. He kept asking, where are you gonna cash in, and what are you gonna do with all the belts? And Fernando and Austin just start looking at the camera, like getting it together. Like Fernando was part of the show. And I'll get on you, Fernando, with this. You forgot to ask for a selfie with Austin Theory.
I did.
You messed up there. But it was just so fun watching you, James, and Fernando. I should have gotten into it. I was waiting for Bianca. I got selfish. But I
was wondering because like you were kind of like just behind the camera, and I was kind of like I was like, wow, Fernando's really hogging all the mic time. I was like, when is he gonna let Gilbert have a turn? But
Fernando's the nicest guy on this earth. He would never do that.
Well, it was intentional. We'll put it this way, James. Like Bianca Belair is a really, really popular person. So I made a deal with Fernando. I said, you could have anybody you want. You get all of them. Let me just have that one wrestler, the biggest star in WWE. And obviously, that's where I messed up. I got greedy, James. So
you did.
It didn't work out, but
you went all in and had nothing to show for it.
I know, but hey, we got to mingle with Seth Rollins. There was a scrum there. We got to see some matches at SoFi Stadium on the field. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But James, let me ask you this. Before we let you go, it's just kind of this weird thing we were talking about where like the traditional media outlets don't know how to cover wrestling, and you and I are like, why is it so hard? Like me and Fernando's gonna lose his mind right now. And
people were asking the wrestlers, I don't know who you are, but what do you think about this? Like, dude, are you kidding? Do your homework.
Do your homework, or just be a journalist and treat them like they're athletes. It's not that hard.
Right.
And James, you did great work for our newspaper, our company, Southern California News Group. You even got a shout out from WWE Communications. I saw that. You spoke to the Miz. So you're putting the work and the grind and writing stories the traditional way. Can you touch on that, and why is it so difficult for people, and why do you feel like it's important to talk about it?
Yeah, like so for me, like I can see where it's hard for people, but I would think like if you're going to cover that event, or like have an angle, like I mean, have 2 or 3 questions that you can just ask, no matter who gets put in front of your face. Like for me, if I get sent out to cover lacrosse, I'm gonna be a little lost. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna have some 2 or 3 general questions that I can lean on to do what I need to do to get by and have a story. So just for those guys, I mean, heck, you ask Seth Rollins, you can ask any of them. What are their thoughts on SoFi? What are their thoughts of the LA market in wrestling? What are your favorite memories of wrestling? To their credit, you don't know who you're gonna get. And in Gilbert's case, he thought he was gonna get Bianca and didn't. But
hey, the poster, in all fairness, the poster did say Bianca Belair on it.
I mean, but they don't say she's gonna be available. No. But I mean, did any of us know we were going to get Jimmy Hart? I mean, like
no. Mouthpiece of the South.
I didn't have Jimmy Hart on my bingo card, but he's just the first thing I'm asking about is his jacket. Do you just look at him like he has a megaphone? Tell me about this megaphone. What is this? Like there's just so much to it there. And a lot of like Jimmy Hart, you tell him. What does it mean to have WrestleMania back in LA? And he's like, baby, I've been in LA for a long time with the Gentrys, and I was in the music industry, and like he tells you his whole story before you even have to ask him, right? And so he knows how it goes, and they're gonna, they all have their pitch, they know when the dates are and when tickets are available, they do it all for you. I mean, and there's so many of them that, you could ask questions again by, and you don't know who you're gonna get. You don't know how long you're going to have with them, but if you just treat it like anyone else, and I think that's the thing frustrated. Too. Sure, it's not a sport. I mean, that was something we talked about too. Like, do you put in the sports section? Do you put in the entertainment section? But for me, like it doesn't matter. If you just talk to people like they're people, right? It does the same way you would talk to Tom Cruise or anybody else, and it's no different. For me, like I'd have no problem talking to Barack Obama. the first thing I'm going to ask him is about when he fill out his bracket. Like, you're the president of the United States, but you're filling out a bracket like everybody else. And, you know, everyone's a normal people will find something that you can relate to them with and just go from there. But it was a good time. I thought everyone was pretty open and very candid with anything you asked them. Even the Vince McMahon stuff, I think it said in the small print not to ask that, but some people were asking it. Yeah, I was kind of surprised when Seth was kind of asked that question, and Austin Theory brought up Vince McMahon during my interview, so I kind of like asked him a little bit about it.
Who's your daddy?
Yeah, and then the crowd was great too. The crowd was really great.
Yeah.
I'll give the crowd credit. And a lot of people could have said like that's a small show, like a small crowd. But I mean, that's almost like a little indie show, right? That's no,
It is. It
that's
really
not a knock
is.
on indie shows, but that like, you know, NXT, like, I mean, what they're doing now in NXT 2.0, that's probably about the same size, if not smaller. I mean, that's probably bigger what we had at SoFi.
But a lot of people also were sitting down, and they were still like, when Gilbert and I left, people were still grabbing beers. They were buying food. There were still a lot of people inside starting to make their way in. But James, just before, I have to ask you one last question before we let you go.
Sure.
If it really is the last match, The Rock versus Roman Reigns, SoFi Stadium, tell us about that. Like, I'm getting goosebumps now. Speaking of goose, like, you know, the energy is going to be incredible at SoFi Stadium.
I think it's going to be crazy, and I have heard it before, and like it being a possibility, right? And I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe. And they've kind of teased it. They've had them both in the ring before and stuff like that.
But it's getting louder.
I was talking to Titus. It is. No, it really is. And I was like talking to Titus O'Neil at the ESPYs, and I'm like, you know, tell me about the LA and what it means to have it in LA, you know, coming up in April. And he's like, oh yeah, you know, it'll be good for the community, yada yada yada. And you know who's down here often? The Rock. You know who his cousin is, right? Everyone thinks they're gonna have a match, yada yada. And I'm like, what? Like, you just said that? Like you're not putting that out there if there's not something to it. I think like you. And this is Titus O'Neil. Like, he's an ambassador. He's someone who's like knows what they want him to say. Like, he does not say that unless there's something to it.
When they presented WrestleMania initially, in 2020, we were standing there with Roman. Roman goes, look, when this stadium's finished, why not Dwayne? And he said, Dwayne, he's like, why not Dwayne? Let's do it. Let's blow the roof off of this place and let's do it. Man, you've been teasing it for 2 or 3 years. Roman is now the best character that you've ever had him at. He's the tribal chief. It's like, hey, now you have the box office Rock versus the tribal chief. Something's got to give, and I'm all for it. But Roman can't have a title. He has to lose both titles because you can't. I don't want it to be like because he has the titles, The Rock can win one. Like if you're really gonna have this match, Roman needs to lose one to Cody Rhodes and maybe one to somebody else, but he needs both titles off so that it's a match that you can't predict the outcome of the match. I think it really needs to be something like that.
I can agree with you on that, because if he has the title, but see, to WWE's credit, I thought the last time The Rock had a title match,
against CM Punk.
There's no way he's gonna win it, right? There's no way he's gonna, and he won it, and I'm like, Rock should not be holding the title right now. Like, I mean, he could, but
man, he was so gassed after that fight too.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of like, but. Like, for me, like, they need to do something big, right? Like, it need, and you're slapping Hollywood across the name of this WrestleMania. Doesn't get any more Hollywood than The Rock, but you know, they planted the seeds on it. Give me anything except Brock and Roman again, really, but you have to be able to top Brock and Roman, and so what else can do that other than Rock and Roman? So you got to do it. I mean, I think, in a way, running out of some time a little bit. The Rock's not getting any younger.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be that. I think John Cena probably wrestles at WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes. I think they're gonna try and make it big. But James, thank you so much for jumping on with us. Let the great folks of let the fans of Compas know where they can find all your awesome work.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys again for the stage and the opportunity. I'm a big fan of what you guys do. You guys can go ahead. Follow me on Twitter at JHW Reporter. You can also go ahead and check out my work, including, as Gilbert mentioned, the article about WrestleMania being at SoFi just here the last week or so at ocregister.com. Everything you guys need, whether it's wrestling and WrestleMania coming to LA and everything from high school sports, the LA Rams, the LA Chargers, and everything else in between. We'll have it over there for you guys at ocregister.com.
James does such a great job. Thank you so much, James, for covering everything in Southern California. You're the man.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate it. And it was great to finally meet you in person
yes, it
at
was.
SoFi Stadium.
Thank you, boys. You guys have a good one.
Thank you,
James.
Gilbert, that was a good interview with James, and obviously we got to know a little bit more about James because I got to finally meet him. We had followed each other on social media, but I had actually never met him before. So he's honestly a good guy. And honestly, Gilbert, I feel like all your coworkers are very good people. We've had a lot of them on, and the OC Register has really good folks working for them.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we got to catch up with James because he has his own point of view. We were all there together, and I'm glad he touched on the crowd kind of being the indie vibe. I get people care about more about the size of how big the crowd is. I love that environment.
Yeah,
you and I were talking about, hey, there's a lot of Latinos out here. I don't know that many Mexicans love pro wrestling. You saw the máscaras out there. I was telling you, I forgot to bring a shirt. I wanted a wrestling shirt. I wanted a Latino Heat shirt. So just being around that kind of intimate vibe. They
were behind Raquel. They were not behind Nikki ASH. They were so excited.
They were into it, and like you mentioned, we were walking around, and then there were people buying beer and snacks. So it was like a real event. So that was awesome to see, and it was cool that we had to do it with James Williams. Again, read a story. He knows wrestling, so it was cool to catch up with him.
So, guys, right now we are gonna go to some of our interviews from there. We talked to Seth Freakin Rollins. We talked to the Street Profits. They want the smoke. We talked to Dominic Mysterio, Austin Theory, Nikki ASH, Jimmy Hart. We talked to so many guys. Here we go. Now let's present this, and then we'll go to a little Dan and Dago. And man, if there's anybody that can really get us hyped up, it's Dan and Dago. So first these interviews, then Dan and Dago, and then we'll come back and let's see what else Gilbert and I got on here. The second episode of Combat Compas.
Your dream opponent at WrestleMania?
Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, baby.
Have you ever talked to him about it?
Shawn, I've teased him a little bit about it. I think after his last, coming out of retirement match, I don't know if he's ever coming back again.
What is it like working now under Triple H and previously working with Vince McMahon?
It's exciting, man. It's very exciting. It's like I was saying a couple interviews. It's a brand new world. It's a lot of the same, but just a little bit different. It's like kind of stepping into a wormhole into some parallel universe where it's all WWE. It's all the same people that you knew and loved and worked with before, but now it's just going in a different direction. And so I'm very excited to see what the next 6 months look like and see where we end up. Triple H is awesome. Someone who's been a mentor to me for a long, long time, and I'm very excited to see where he takes WWE. Go again one more time.
What is the visionary envision for WrestleMania 39?
I envision Seth freaking Rollins on the marquee, baby, as the main event. That's what I need. That's the one thing I'm missing, and Los Angeles is a perfect opportunity for that.
If you could officiate a dream match from any WrestleMania, which one would you want to officiate? You can't participate. You can only officiate it.
Ooh, man, that's tricky. I would say if I could officiate, one of my favorite wrestling matches of all time is Shawn Michaels versus Bret the Hitman Hart, WrestleMania 12 Iron Man match. I'd love to be out there for an hour with two of the greatest of all time.
So we got Theory. Where is it?
Look, man, if I bring it around everywhere, people are going to know. They're going to know. But if I have it in a secret spot, and when the time is right to cash in, then it doesn't matter where it's at, right?
That's really...
I can't tell everybody where it's at, right?
Hey, that thing's taking a beating. I saw it. It's dented in.
It's taking a beating, or I am?
Well, both. But, like, when you go to CSA, do they tell you, hey, what's in this thing?
So I try to go through the airport with a cover on it, but most of the time they do want to see what it is. I remember there was a point where it was so bent that the combination lock didn't work. So they're like, "What's inside of this thing?" And I'm just like, "There's a contract in there." Glory. It's a pretty big contract. Maybe we shouldn't open it. Of course, they want to open it, but the combination doesn't work. So I got a little free pass. But it's a journey every time I go to the airport, for sure.
You took the Hurt Lock at SummerSlam. Then you take the hit from Roman. You take the hit from Brock. This body, you must really take good care of it.
I have to. And speaking of that Hurt Lock at SummerSlam, I'm pretty sure I could have got out of it, but I was like, you know what? Here's Bobby Lashley. He needs the United States Championship. I already became the youngest. Do I need to become the two-time? That's cool, but do I need to? And I was thinking, if I let Bobby sit here and I try my best to get out of this, which I know I can get out, it might take a little long. And I might be a little worn out, and it might mess up my cash. So that was my mindset with that. And then, going into the cash in, was not expecting the ring to be sideways up in the air. And, Brock Lesnar came out of nowhere, and I wasn't able to successfully have an attempted cash in. So it was an attempted cash in, but I still got the money in the bank. So, still the youngest.
The problem is too, you'd have a belt here, you'd have a belt there, and a belt there. It might hurt you. You could be sore from carrying so much gold.
Just being the guy, just 2 titles, I think.
You talk about being the youngest and all that you've already accomplished, but being at WrestleMania, I mean, even for you, going from being a little kid dreaming of being at one, now it's going Hollywood. What does that mean for you?
It's so crazy because all of these things like you dream about and you put in the work and you're on the independence and you're dreaming of being in WWE, and then it's like when you get here, it's great and it's so fast though. Like you have to slow yourself down. And I think that's why for me, I like to look at each day and take it in and enjoy it. Because, WrestleMania, especially in Hollywood, as a kid, Hollywood is the biggest, the coolest thing. And then on top of that, it's WrestleMania, the biggest show in all of sports entertainment. And for me, it's just like even being here today and walking out on the field and being like, wow, like in due time, you're going to be right here. And it's going to be WrestleMania and it's going to be sold out and it's going to change your career. And to me, that's so much to take in. But I'm just living my dream, man. That's all
I'm putting 2 and 2 together. It's going to change your life. It's your dream. Can we see a cash in?
We could. And when we think about a possible cash in, we could be seeing the Tribal Chief versus the most electrifying man in all sports entertainment. That could happen.
And somebody would come in and screw that match up and take the headline away from them?
I mean, just think. Either the Tribal Chief goes down and The Rock's the winner, and then here comes Theory. Imagine The Rock loses to Theory, and Theory becomes the youngest undisputed WWE Universal Champion of all time.
Beautiful. Hollywood. That's Hollywood.
That's Hollywood.
That's Hollywood.
I'm writing a movie. Yeah. I am writing a movie.
Thank you so much, Theory. We got the Street Profits with us, Angelo Dawkins. We got Montez Ford. Guys, WrestleMania Goes Hollywood. What does that mean for the Street Profits?
Street Profits go Hollywood too. About time. Okay. Street Profits are Hollywood. Okay. That's what we got. You see Street Profits, you think of Hollywood. You know Hollywood. You see Hollywood. You smell Hollywood. You taste Hollywood. You know the Street Profits are Hollywood. And we got coming to Hollywood to do it real good. WrestleMania 39, we're gonna feel fine. The last time we was here, actually one of my favorite WrestleMania, WrestleMania 21. We did all the movie vignettes and everything, and now everything's changed. But we acting strange. Street Profits are here.
Street Profit movie coming
Man,
soon.
you know what we need? Some 1 year. No. One belt here. I wouldn't say no to it. But
cool.
One belt here, one belt here, one belt there, one belt there. Coming into Hollywood. I'm painting a movie, I think.
What?
I'm painting a movie.
You are? That's not familiar. You know what? He's painting a movie of us walking in the room already.
Right.
We already.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I like the way he thinks.
Business.
I like the way he thinks. And you know what? That sounds true. Been on air the last few times, you know what I'm saying? Not really getting the dub, but we still love. We still always love.
Right.
We get it.
Well, when you have the ones actually using other people to kind of help them, I mean,
you know what? We ain't gonna sit here and make excuses.
Yeah.
They have the tribal chief, they have the bloodline. They have a bloodline. The bloodline is very strong. They've been very dominant for a very long time. All good things, bad things.
Wrap it up.
It's time.
The last few months have been just a whirlwind of emotions, I think, because I've been working so long and so hard in NXT to get to this moment, and now that I'm finally here, it has been just excitement nonstop. And I feel like I've been able to transition so seamlessly into the SmackDown Women's roster, and I've been able to add something different to them, and that's, you know, height, strength, power, and it's been just so much fun working with these women that I haven't had the opportunity to step into the ring with, and it makes me excited for more. It makes me want to work every single woman on the roster so that I can just gain more and more knowledge and become a better performer myself.
I believe one of your first few nights you fought Ronda Rousey. What was that like, and just getting to go up against? I mean, it's not just you go up against one of the better wrestlers right away. How was that?
It was definitely nerve-wracking, and I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, because it was the most pressure I've ever had on myself, I think, as a performer. And I mean, main eventing NXT TakeOver last year for WrestleMania was a lot of pressure. But this itself, you know, it's Ronda Rousey. She's the baddest woman on the planet. She has a reputation of just taking people out, you know? So I was definitely on my toes the whole time. I was definitely nervous the entire time. But I was really excited to just be thrown in the fire like that. There's something about being thrown in the fire and performing and going out there and coming out and just like having that feeling of like, yes, I did that. Win or lose, I did that.
Talk about the surreal moment that these last 2 years have been like for you. I mean, we knew you from when you were a kid. You did some segments with your dad and everything. But now to be a WWE wrestler, your dream comes true. What has that been like for you?
Man, it's honestly a dream come true. You know, you alone just stating that fact to me gives me goosebumps. Again, you know, it's still surreal to me being able to look back and see what I've accomplished in these 2 years. And I'm honestly blessed and super fortunate to be in the position.
Getting to work with your dad, I mean, your dad's obviously a legend, but you're starting to make your own mark. Just what has it been like to kind of get tips from him and some of the other wrestlers that obviously you kind of have grown up watching and being around?
It's been such a surreal experience, you know. And my dad gets on me a little bit about little things, nitpicky, but I understand that he's one of the best to ever do it. So everything he tells me, I take it as it is, you know, because he's who he is for a reason. So I try to soak it all in and try to make sure that I do the best that I can.
In the ring and maybe overall as a performer and a wrestler, because they're obviously a package deal.
Oh man, I think I've grown, you know, not as much as I've wanted to, just because, you know, our schedules are so crazy, but I've only been in this game for a year and a half now. August 23rd will be my official 2-year anniversary, so, you know, the sky's the limit, and I think I can just keep getting better.
You guys brought 2 championships to San Diego when you guys won the tag team titles. What does that mean to kind of put the 619 off? I mean, obviously, and bring back those titles and bring them home and be the first father-son duo to ever win those?
Man, it honestly felt amazing because I had seen my dad win, you know, tag team titles before with, you know, guys like Edge, Batista, Eddie Guerrero. So being able to be a part of that list is just surreal, you know, and being able to bring the tag team titles home and be the first ever father-son tag team champions.
You grew up 2.5 hours from here. What does it mean to have WrestleMania in LA and you be a part of WrestleMania Going Hollywood?
Man, it's honestly crazy because my last memory of WrestleMania Hollywood is WrestleMania, 21, when my dad opened the show against Eddie Guerrero, and it was the first time the tag team champions faced each other at WrestleMania, just let alone in general. So I think, you know, just talking about it gives me goosebumps, man. It's history. You can't write this. It's surreal, and I can't wait for WrestleMania here again. 2023.
Yeah. Just can you guys talk about what it means to be Hispanic, Latinos, and being in WrestleMania in Hollywood? What that means for the community and everybody?
Yeah, it's an honor because I mean, Los Angeles right here we have a lot of Hispanic people, and being that representation for them means everything for us. And hopefully we are part of WrestleMania 39. We are in the ring representing all of our Latinos, and we're gonna do our best during now to WrestleMania. It already feels like home, so it's gonna be like this place is gonna be hot. It's gonna be incredible. So we're excited. We're excited. Some wheels enough.
Hotter than it is right now.
Yeah, I mean for you it's a little warm, but for us it's fresh. Yeah, we're not fresh. Probably you're like a little bit nervous. That's why you're.
I know it's actually
that.
No.
It's not heat. Right? It's not hot.
I know you guys.
I'm wearing a suit. I'm wearing
that's true.
Two shirts.
But look, you're buttoned all the way down here. I mean,
and I can I'm bringing more than that if I want. There's no hit here. You are sweating.
I know. And that's why I'm keeping my distance because I don't want to get it on you guys. But exactly, yeah, exactly. But speaking of feisty, I feel like you need to choose better friends. You got.
I'm gonna tell Dewdrop you said that. Where's my phone? I need to let Dewdrop know. Dewdrop.
Not Dewdrop, but like you've had people turn on you. You've had a lot of people, and I'm like, you're just such a nice person.
I'm
that
such
you're
a
like,
wonderful person.
why?
It's a burden.
Exactly.
I think it's jealousy. You know, I'm very sexy. I'm the sexiest woman in Scotland. I'm a national treasure of Scotland. You know, and I just think that it's jealousy. I think people find it hard to deal with my sexual magnetism. And I just feel bad for these people, you know. They just can't compete with a superhero, an almost superhero, always a superhero. They cannot compete with Nikki ASH. And we are here for WrestleMania 39, April 1st and 2nd. And we're here. And I'm here.
Yeah.
And there's just a whole lot of sexiness. And I can see why people are jealous of
Nikki
that.
ASH is going to take flight. She's going to take flight.
She's going to take flight. She's going to fly. And you know, and honestly, when you fly, people are always trying to hold you down. And you can't let the haters. So, you know, but I will defend my current friend and tag team partner, Dewdrop. She is wonderful. She is loyal. I've known Dewdrop for 14 years. For now, she is loyal. No, she's great. We're excited. You know, we have the WWE Women's Tag Team Title Tournament coming. We have our qualifying match on Monday. So we're excited. We are prepared. We are training. And women's tag team titles. And then WrestleMania next.
Last one for me. That shoulder looks a little empty. Do you feel like there's something you can bring onto that shoulder? Some kind of gold?
Gold, baby. I am the gold. I am the gold. I am the gold block. I am the gold brick. I think so. That's maybe someone's catchphrase, right? I'm just gold, baby. I am just gold. I'm wearing red right now, but I'm gold. WrestleMania Goes Hollywood, gold. Nikki ASH, gold. Nikki holding the WWE Women's Tag Team titles by the end of this tournament, gold. So I love gold the next time you see me. Don't you want it?
Fernando, I've been around so many years, man. Can you believe WrestleMania 1?
To 39 now.
39 now. 39 years ago, WrestleMania 1 took place. If it had not been successful, we wouldn't be talking to you today, would we?
Don't know, and that's what I was wanting to ask you. How have you seen the revolution of WrestleMania grow in the last almost 40 years?
Well, you know, 39 years ago at WrestleMania 1, it was just one night at Madison Square Garden. Now it's 2 big days. This year it's going to be at SoFi Stadium, of course, Los Angeles, California. WrestleMania Goes Hollywood, April the 1st, April the 2nd. So it's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, no, and I mean, obviously the talent has grown as well. You have so much talent coming in left and right, but just what do you think that those 2 nights are going to be like here at SoFi?
Well, it's going to be something for everybody. You know, the ladies' matches are going to be great. You know, Bianca Belair, she's tremendous. Becky Lynch, the list just goes on and on and on and on. And of course, Seth Rollins, I love his outfits. It kind of reminds me a little Jimmy Hart outfits, but I love him. And like I said, Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. I love Paul Heyman. VIP does a great job, so I might buy a ticket myself.
You saw a couple of weeks ago, Paul Heyman got F5 through a table. I mean, could you have taken something like that from Brock Lesnar?
Absolutely not. Brock Lesnar would have never caught me. When I was watching, I thought, run, Paul, like run, Forrest Gump, run, Paul, run. But he didn't do it.
Yeah, he should have taken your advice because he got F5 and he was still on the floor, kind of dazed and everything. But can you talk about the job that Paul Heyman has done, not only in the ring but outside of the ring?
Paul did a great job for ECW. You know, I thought he was tremendous there. He was brought over to WWE. He's a workaholic. He knows the business inside and out. And I love when he talks. And, you know, think about this. When a lot of people do interviews, people go, why? When Paul talks, everybody listens. The audience doesn't say, what? And listen to every word he's got.
A lot of very good interviews. Like I said, here at Compas on the Beat, your boys are A1. Everyone else is the 2s, and we're the 1s. Let's get to the next part of it real quick, where a very important question is asked to settle this debate right here, right? Who has the best Mexican food? Texas or California? We're going to find out next here on Combat Compas. Can you tell us who has the best Mexican food in all the United States?
Definitely San Diego. And I can put it down to certain restaurants as well if need be.
Hey, Lolitas.
Lolitas is definitely up there. But there's also a little Ortiz's in Point Loma that has California burritos are top notch.
Hey, so Gilbert, my co-host, I told him about California burritos, and he finally tried one. And he's like, "Okay, this is actually pretty good." He had never tried one before.
It's honestly life changing once you have them. We had a couple guys come from like Australia and stuff like that and try them, and they're like, "This is insane."
I gotta know. I mean, I don't know how long you've been in LA, but what Mexican food? Which one's better, Texas or California? What do you think?
Okay, so I mean, I got into LA today, but I did have tacos in San Francisco not too long ago, and those tacos were fire. I was like, yes, I wanted more. Oh, but I mean, I'm like, you can't make me choose. You know, it's Texas. I gotta pick Texas. I gotta pick Tex-Mex. I love my grandma's tortillas. That's
There
it.
you go. All right, there you go. You guys travel to Texas, Los Angeles, California. Who has the best Mexican food?
Oh, that's a tough one, huh?
I think LA.
LA?
Yeah.
I go with the same one.
What about San Diego?
Oh, it's kind of.
Oh, wow.
Like try food from there, but I think it's
Yeah, but I stick with LA or Houston.
Houston?
Yeah,
Wow.
Houston.
What do you like in Houston?
Tacos. I always go with tacos. Tacos are the best.
Yeah, we're watching Comeback Compas featuring the Street Profits. Because we live, breathe, and die by them 4 words, which is we want the smoke.
Combat Compas is growing. We got Ryan Garcia. We got Triple G. We got WWE wrestlers. We're all over the place getting grade A talent content for you, the listener, here for your favorite program. Now let's get to the next segment, Will. Fernando and Gilbert is going to preview UFC 278, Usman versus Leon Edwards. The last Usman fight, if my memory is not mistaken, we saw together in Philadelphia, Fernando Gilberto and his best friend over here. You already know Dan and Dago in Philadelphia. And boy, that was a fight. I'm excited for this weekend. So let's quit. I'm going to quit talking. Let's get to it. No more dilly-dally. Let's get to it. Let's see what they're going to say. Gilbert, that was a lot of fun. I thought that was really cool. Some of the stuff that we got. And like we said, this is only the beginning. That was a great event. So much fun. We got so many great interviews. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, it's fun to hear your interviews played back again. We had a bunch of fun with the Street Profits, Dominic Mysterio, and everybody we talked to was having fun. And I love the plugs at the beginning of the show that we played. So people love Combat Compas. Some people were worried about pronouncing it properly, but some people were like, "Hey, you mean Compas, right?" And they were saying it properly. So it was awesome. The energy, I think they finally matched your energy, Fernando. We always talk about me not being able to match it because you're just too much sometimes, but those guys and ladies were really up there, and I really enjoyed it, and it was fun to be there at SoFi Stadium.
I know, and I had so much fun that guess who is here? Guess who is breaking down the door, entering this just comes out of nowhere. Favorite program?
I thought we got rid of you this week.
What's that? You ain't getting rid of me. That's a personal foul right there. Don't hit below the belt. You're never getting rid of me. I'm like, Dan, oh, you're right. Dan, sorry. How excited are you for WrestleMania going Hollywood? I am so fired up. It's going to be here in my backyard, dude. It's in April, right?
You live in San Diego.
No one wants to listen to Captain Negativity, El Capitán Negativo, como siempre. No one wants to listen to that.
All right, come on.
In February, God willing, the Chargers win the Super Bowl. So in April, I'm never going to make it to see it because I'm a party like it's 1969 and we just landed on the freaking moon. It's over for your boy. Check the morgue, check the hospitals, check the jail cells. I'm partying, dude.
Okay. Hopefully you don't get in too much trouble because you are a coach now, Fernando. Think about the children. I mean, Daniel.
No, and you're a part of Compas, so we can't have you doing
Think about us,
reckless.
you selfish person.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, and everything's for the program. No, but honestly, I'm really excited. Even though Frown knows, hey, your boy Dan and Dago biggest Rock hater. I hope he's not there. If he's there, I hope the tribal chief kicks his ass and embarrasses him. I can't stand the guy. I hate his. I think I only like Walking Tall. Very few movies, but I don't like him. Get him out of here. You want to watch your hero Ronda Rousey lift the championship, right?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is my favorite part. Here we go to the burial of the day. I cannot stand Ronda Rousey. She should be nowhere near a microphone. She should not be in the ring. Her wrestling's okay, but wrestling, like, let's be fair. Okay, let me put on my objective hat now. Here we go. Would you guys not agree? Character is more than like 60% of the whole thing. Because like there's wrestlers who are great wrestlers, but their characters never take off. And it's not like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't work. It hasn't.
So what percentage would you do? Dan and Dago is a 90% energy, 10% worker, or what's your percentage?
You're asking me?
No, him.
Oh.
My percentage, I'm freaking 90. No. I'm 50-50. I'm the perfect happy medium, dude. You get me in a ring. Oh, look at that. I already got a little shoulder bump. I'm going to be like the nature boy walking out there and everything. I'm good to go. I'm 50-50. That's the perfect happy medium. But if you remember, right, Sandman, terrible wrestler, had an epic entrance. People love the guy. Goldberg, terrible wrestler, had a great entrance, had a great persona. People love the guy. There's been other people who have been bad wrestlers, but because
so we just brought on Dan and Dago to again bury Ronda Rousey. I thought we were going to talk some UFC,
right.
Fernando. Let's move on.
No, I know. So obviously, I'll ask him one quick question, and
wait,
that's it. Just to finish this.
Am I unmuted?
Yeah. What's your dream?
Okay,
What's your dream match for WrestleMania 39?
Oh, this upcoming?
Yeah.
Well, I already saw Steve Austin. Let's see.
It could even be like with some of the wrestlers that are in there now.
Yeah, in there now. I have to see low key. I would love to see the KO show Kevin Owens versus the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. I feel like that would be a great, not only promotional thing, but that would be a great match, dude. By the way, hey, here's another one. Little spoiler. Your boy, big KO fan. Kevin
Gilbert,
Owens,
what about you?
Yeah.
My favorite, like my dream matchup for headlining.
Yeah. I feel like you're kind of a Roman and The Rock. I feel like that's what you really want to watch.
No, he doesn't.
Well, yeah, because The Rock would be involved, but that's we're already headed there. So, I guess to get creative, huh? You know what? It'd be nice if Sasha Banks hasn't arrived just yet. You wait a little longer, make a grand entrance to WrestleMania. Bianca Belair, run it back.
Oh, so 2020.
No,
rematch.
thank you.
2021.
I know why you don't like that match, Dago, but whatever.
It should be someone else, dude. She's gotten so many opportunities. Like, look, come on.
Who do you want to see
In the women's division?
Yeah.
All right. So it's Bianca Belair
against Liv Morgan. How about that? There you go. Are we happy now?
No. I would rather see her against the man, but I guess we've already seen that many times.
I
Who's
wouldn't
up and
mind
coming
that.
that we could pick?
No.
Here we go. I want to see Bianca Belair, the EST of WWE, versus Rhea Ripley from the what's her name?
Ooh, that'd be a good one. Yeah, from the Judgment Day.
Yeah, from the Judgment Day, but she's like the exterminator or something. Let's go. Dude. Trying to talk trash. Let's go.
My match that I really want to see is finally, after so many years, we haven't gotten this match. 1-on-1 finally on the stage. Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch. I want to see that match.
No thanks.
I've been waiting for that match. I love Bianca. No, you know Becky's gonna tear her a new one when it comes to the mic. So I want to watch that. So all right,
want to see a run through? Becky, the only reason I don't smash your face in is because I don't want to. Okay.
One day I'm gonna get Ronda Rousey on this program. We're gonna get Ronda Rousey on this show, and I'm gonna play back everything you said.
By the way,
I don't care. Write it down. Write me a letter so I have something to wipe my ass with.
By the way,
I understand.
What are we, PG-14 in this program? Because
that's right. It's a new era, baby. Triple H is in here.
Come on, Fred, I gotta go to the next topic.
Gilbert admitted on regular Compas that he enjoys the way you say his name, that he appreciates it.
Oh, he loves the way I say.
All right, let's go. We're going off the rails. Come
All
on.
right. Hey, that's what Combat Compas is supposed to be. All right, let's talk a little UFC. This is going to be a good one. Usman gets back in the ring. It's Usman Edwards 2. Gilbert, I mean, the last time we watched Usman fight, the three of us were in Philly for Chargers Eagles. Gilbert, give us a little bit about this. Tell us a little bit about this matchup.
Yeah, is that accurate for now? That was the last time he's fought, huh? That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, for him, because Usman was very active. He had the injury, so he had to kind of wait around till he got healed. But the strange thing is that Leon Edwards too, like he hasn't been really active either because he had this long winning streak, and it got to a point where Usman is just knocking out everybody. He destroyed Kobe Covington again. Like who was out there? He knocked out twice. I'm blanking right now. Masvidal. So Edwards was the one with the long winning streak. But the funny thing, Fernando and Daniel, is that he's already beating him. He beat him in 2016, 3 rounds. He didn't knock him out though. It went to the scorecards, unanimous decision for Usman. But Usman is just on a different kind of planet right now when it comes to MMA. He's definitely the pound for pound fighter in that sport, MMA. But I don't know how much it would change for Leon Edwards. But Usman coming off the injury, maybe could be rusty. And as we know in this sport, guys, a lot of upsets happen. That's why we like MMA. We'll see. Leon Edwards has been really great in the last year or two to earn this opportunity, but I still think Usman is gonna be too much to handle.
This is nuts. They haven't fought at Gilbert since 2015, so they haven't been in the ring since in 7 years. So it's crazy about this matchup. I love the way Usman fights. I just think he's vicious. He's big. He's athletic. The way we saw him, I mean, Dan will probably touch on this a little bit more, but the Kobe Covington fight I thought was a really good fight. Obviously, they went to decision. Kobe Covington there showed a lot of heart in that fight, but I'm excited for this matchup. Gilbert, real quick before we go to Dan and Dago, can you give us an undercard? Is there an undercard that you're kind of one of the undercard matches that you're kind of looking at, or anything special on this card?
It's not the deepest card, but I do like the co-main. I said Paulo Costa and Luke Rockhold. Paulo Costa was, once viewed as a real contender, and then he was bailing on fights. He was injured. He was losing fights. So I don't know how much he has, but also Luke Rockhold has been around the game for a long time. He's kind of over the hill, but he could be dangerous. He has good power. I remember Rockhold became a champion at one of the fights I covered maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it was a surprise too. So he's dangerous. And then Jose Aldo is also on the card, and he is fighting. I can't even pronounce the name, but Mirab. But he's the third one on that one. Other than that, it's not the deepest, pay-per-view. And that's kind of one of the bad things that I don't like about UFC. They put everything on pay-per-view, even though the main event is really good, but the undercard stinks. But to have a pay-per-view every single month, and you're not probably paying for this one if you're really tight on money. But when you get to watch Usman, fight, maybe it's okay.
Dan, what do you? You remember that last fight? What did you like about the way Usman fought?
My favorite part about the last fight was that we were in Philly at a big old bar, drinking it dry. I had a great time. No, but in all seriousness, it was a great fight. It was really entertaining. I just love UFC, man. I'm hyped for fight night. One of the players is also an MMA guy. He loves watching it. And I was like, it's fight night, baby. It's coming. I'm amped up. I love fight night.
Gilbert, you got Usman taking it?
Yeah, I do like the whole factor of him being rusty and coming off an injury to add some kind of intrigue there. But Usman's going to win it, though.
Dan, you got Usman?
I'm going to stick to my role, and I'm going to go against Gilberto, so I got Edwards.
Wow. I'll go Usman as well. I think that the champion always has the advantage, no matter if he hasn't fought in almost a year. Gilbert, now let's turn over to boxing. Anthony Joshua. We all remember Anthony Joshua. He fought Andy Ruiz a couple of years ago. Anthony Ruiz beat him. Then Joshua won the titles back, going a little Floyd Mayweather, going point, back up, point, back up. Anthony Joshua's fighting again. I really can't pronounce this guy's name.
Oleksandr
Usyk.
You got
Usyk?
it. Yeah.
All right, cool.
I think it's Usyk, but Usyk's fine.
Okay. So Gilbert, tell us about this this fight.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued for this rematch. Another rematch. It's gonna be a bunch of rematches this weekend. Heavyweight championship. I want to say 3 belts are on the line because one of them goes to Tyson Fury. But this fight was supposed to happen a few months ago, but then the war in Ukraine broke out, and Usyk is from Ukraine, and he wanted to be out there to help out with the war. It's crazy to say. And then now he's defending the championship. It's kind of a pretty badass thing. You go fight the war and then go fight in the ring. But Usyk, he's a very skillful fighter. He's not the biggest. He's not a big body heavyweight, but he'll pick you apart. And that's exactly what happened with Anthony Joshua the first time around. And I was looking at the betting odds, Daniel and Fernando. He is favored, 2-1. Like, that's pretty high for supposed to be a matchup that's pretty close. It's one of these things where we already know Anthony Joshua lacks skills. He doesn't have a jab. He has a weak chin, but he's big and he has some power. So if he's able to catch Usyk with his power, then maybe he goes down. But the way that first fight developed and where he just pretty much picked them apart with the jab, moving around, maybe that makes you feel like there's no intrigue there. But when you have that much power and you're Anthony Joshua, it takes one punch. They're going to fight in Saudi Arabia. It's going to be one of these early fights on Saturday afternoon on DAZN. But me being a boxing nerd and I love the heavyweight division, even though Usyk is not really a big heavyweight, I'm going to still watch.
Anthony Joshua to me has kind of been, like you said, one of these guys that hasn't really kind of picked it up in the last few years. Gilbert, with Tyson Fury kind of stepping away from boxing a little bit, where does that leave the heavyweight division?
Yeah, I guess the winner of this matchup would be the top dog. I wouldn't mind seeing Deontay Wilder fight the winner of this fight. Obviously, he couldn't do it against Tyson Fury. Like, at some point, you got to say, hey, you're the better man. I failed. I'll try with somebody else. And he hasn't fought one of these guys, and Deontay Wilder has power to knock out Usyk, but he's kind of like Anthony Joshua. He doesn't have the defense or the skill. I think he might be a better chin on Deontay Wilder, so he could catch him. And then we could have gotten this fight 4 years ago, and I was so pumped it would have happened. Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. As we say, styles make fight. They're both heavy-handed, big body heavyweights. There's no skill there, but they're just gonna brawl it out. So I wouldn't mind seeing Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder go at it. But you're right, Fernando. Without Tyson Fury there, who keeps saying he's retired, he might go do maybe that's right there. He might be a WrestleMania main event. Tyson Fury. Then he comes back and defends the belt. He's good. He's taking the Mayweather playbook where he's like, I'm gonna retire. I might not, and you generate headlines like that. So I don't know if he's retired just yet, but it does kind of add some intrigue here without Tyson Fury being an active fighter.
Hey, Stooge, quick question from me. Do you think Andy Ruiz can get back into the heavyweight division and get this stuff going, like essentially come back for a title fight?
Well, he fights Luis Ortiz at crypto.com, whatever, Staples Center in LA, September 4th.
Staples,
and Luis Ortiz is an older fighter. He's Cuban, so you don't really know the age. He might be like 50 or he might be 42. I don't know. But he claims to be like maybe 40. I forget. But he's like another heavyweight. That's the thing with the heavyweight. He have no skill, but he has power. So maybe if Andy Ruiz gets by a very, tough matchup and Luis Ortiz, maybe gets back in the title picture. I don't think he's in that level of the guys we just referred to. But I wouldn't mind watching Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz go. I mean, Andy Ruiz go at it because Deontay Wilder already knocked out Luis Ortiz. That would be kind of a good matchup for him. But there's some names in the division and in the heavyweight, and you reminded me, Daniel. But it's not the most glamorous when Tyson Fury is not involved.
And Gilbert,
6'9" Tyson versus a 5'10" or whatever.
And a great singer too.
Yeah.
Oh, I love when he sings "Bye Bye" Miss American Pie. I think that's awesome. Gilbert, over the weekend, Teofimo Lopez returned to the ring, big KO win. What do you think about his return, and what do you think is in the future for Teofimo?
It was a good bounce back fight for Teofimo. He was I think undisputed champion at lightweight, and he lost to Compas, and it was a surprise, one of the biggest upsets of last year, and he had to kind of take that L and figure out what to do. He moved up to junior welterweight, 140 pounds. And he did what he had to do against a nobody. You know, he knocked him out in the 7th round. He was being flashy. He was showboating. So he got the confidence back. Now, what do you do at 140 pounds? There's some talent there, but he kind of left the glamour division 135, which is Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, Devin Haney. So now he's kind of like, what do you do at 140? We don't know if the power carried up because, again, he fought a nobody. But I still think Teofimo Lopez, this is a guy who beat Lomachenko at the height of his powers not too long ago. So I'm not going to give up on Teofimo Lopez. But it was kind of like, okay, you're back. The confidence is back. The swagger is back. Now let's see what you actually do against the heavy hitters at 140.
So obviously with that being said, kid, you think he could climb the mountain back up and be one of the top guys?
Yeah, I think so. You know, again, it's not the biggest names at 140, but there's some talent. I think he could maybe eventually take over the division and do his thing there. But hopefully, maybe he's like a big enough guy to go to welterweight. There's bigger names at welterweight. It sucks that he got too big for 135. It would have been awesome watching him fight against Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, but he just got too big. Maybe Ryan Garcia goes up after fighting Tank Davis and he wants to fight Teofimo Lopez. But it was a good comeback fight. And I think he'll be fine. He'll figure it out. But you got to fight better opponents, though.
Oh, I heard he invited Oscar De La Hoya to the fight to scout him out. Does Lopez want to fight our compa Ryan Garcia next?
That's again, it's kind of tough because they're in different promotions and I think different TV channels. Top Rank and is with ESPN, Golden Boy is with the Zone, and Teofimo's with Top Rank. So I'll be cool with that matchup. I think Teofimo hinted that he has a fight in December, and Fernando Ryan told us he wants to fight in December, and say he doesn't get Tank Davis. There's just too much money problems, and they can't figure it out. Hey, maybe he goes up to 140 because now that I remember, Fernando, he's been saying that he's getting too big for the division too. So maybe they fight at 140, and I'll be very intrigued. I don't know it should be. Maybe it's pay-per-view worthy. I don't know just yet, but I will definitely want to watch that and see Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez throw it down.
Well, I mean, and you know how, I mean, I don't know if you saw, did you see that Floyd Mayweather video that I think I sent it to you earlier?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Floyd Mayweather was kind of over here talking a little trash about these guys. I think I have it right here. Let's see what Floyd Mayweather had to say about.
You have to bleep it out, huh?
No, the fuck you don't. You gonna get fucked up.
No.
That was real quick.
Garcia.
He has speed.
Man, Ryan Garcia. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Ryan Garcia said he wants to fight Tank. Well, I'm putting the money up right now. If Ryan Garcia can beat Rolly, I give him $200,000 cash.
If he can beat who?
He gonna fight one of my other fighters who have less fights than he has. He's gonna fight Rolly. Accept the bout with Rolly. I give him $200,000 cash if he beat Rolly. Now, once he loses to Rolly, I don't want him to ever say Tank name again.
Oh, so he has to get through Rolly to get the Tank.
If he can get through Rolly, then he can get Tank.
You won't give him the Tank fight straight out.
He don't deserve it.
He's undefeated.
I figured him out, Fernando.
He's undefeated.
I figured him out. He is a promoter. He's lacking stars at Mayweather Promotions because Tank Davis is technically a free agent, Fernando.
Yeah.
Rolly Romero is part of the Mayweather banner, so he wants a money fight. Ryan Garcia and Romero, he's a smart promoter, and he's like, hey, $200,000 is nothing for that guy. So he's like, hey, you fight this guy, you win. He's gonna even out eventually because he's gonna get money off the freaking pay-per-view or whatever he's doing.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's exactly what I was thinking too. That's exactly what Floyd wants, but get out of here. Like, everybody wants to see Tank Davis. Remember, I asked him for Christmas, can you get us Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia? He said, I'm gonna be Santa Claus. I'm gonna try and do the best that I can. So I'm definitely excited to see about that. But Gilbert, thank you so much. You gave us some good info about UFC boxing. I definitely always learn a lot from that. Dan, you got anything else before we go on this great episode 2 of Combat Compas?
Yeah, thank you very much. I just want to take this time to come back out and say Ronda Rousey should never step back into this ring I thought you were going to cut me out.
Okay. We get it, Daniel, Ronda, whatever, Rousey, whatever. Yeah. We all agree. She's not the best, Daniel, but you have to say it every single week. But I'll say this, Fernando, another good episode 2 of Combat Compas with the focus on WWE. Kudos to you on the great interviews. It was cool to see you on the microphone with these superstars from WWE. And it was fun to listen to it again. And if you like that content, more is coming in WWE. So subscribe to Combat Compas. Give it that like, subscribe, comment, say Dan and Day goes wrong about Ronda Rousey, comment, whatever.
Thank you. And we appreciate Dan jumping on with us and talking a little boxing. Thank you guys so much. We definitely, like Gilbert said, go like, subscribe. We have so much content coming out. We really are trying to take off with both Compas on the Beat, obviously Combat Compas. We have so much stuff coming. We're definitely excited about it. And honestly, for us to have been to the event and talk to all these guys, all these wrestlers, and everything was a lot of fun. But like we said, we're barely getting started. This is the ground floor. Dan and Dago said it on Compas on the Beat. This is the ground floor. We're getting started. We're definitely up to something. We're cooking some stuff up. We're definitely excited. And thank you guys so much for watching Combat Compas. This has been episode 2. Don't forget. And again, thank you guys so much. Don't forget, Chargers preview, Rams preview, regular Compas. Everything is out. Also, we're going to have the full interviews of all the WWE guys that we had. So definitely check those out. Thank you guys again so much for rocking with us. But for the time being, ¿sabes qué, Gilbert? It's time to go. Vámonos.
Ya nos vamos. Pues vámonos.